everyone. Welcome to my live stream. If you've watched one of my streams before, you might notice that there is something new here. Oh, look at it. It's the little chat box and they put it on the screen. I'm so excited. I hope somebody joins me to chat today and I can see what it's like with the chat box on there. I mean, I did a test stream last week when I set it up, but anyway, today is Tuesday, which means it's time for Inktober52. Since we are in the actual original Inktober month, where it's the month-long challenge, Inktober52 is 52 weeks of the year with one drawing per year. I'm using the prompt of the day. They also have not been sending out a weekly prompt, I think, because they're thinking the same thing. So, the prompt today is demon. And I have no idea what to do, but I thought maybe I could play off of the speed demon thing. So I'm gonna do a quick little search, like fastest bird in the world, and we'll do a speed demon. Gryphon. Oh, it's my favorite bird. Oh, it's my favorite bird. The peregrine falcon. That's my favorite bird. That's my favorite. I did not know that it was the fastest, my favorite bird, and I don't know this. I know now. It's the fastest bird. This says, so this is from Britannica.com, and it says, the peregrine falcon is best known for its diving speed during flight. Okay, so it has to be diving, which can reach more than 300 kilometers per hour. That's 186 miles. Making it not only the world's fastest bird, but also the world's fastest animal. Cool. Awesome. So, that makes it easy. I'll just look up a peregrine falcon diving, because that's when it says it's the fastest. It's a speed demon, so the idea is it's a speed demon. Let's see if there's any photos. I mean, it's so fast, it might be hard to do. No, here we got some. Oh, look, it just like the Daily Mail says peregrine falcon looks just like a B2 something. Look at this, interesting. Peregrine falcon. Here's this like military plane. Oh, that's so cool. Look at it. They just look like a little bullet, like meow. Oh, love it. So that's when they're at their fastest, when they're, oh, this is an excellent, I love this shape. Let's see. So I'll use this as my, you can see how the feet are tucked in and everything. I'll use this as the basis for the gryphon. And then I guess I'll just do like a, ooh. I wonder if I should do, well, I'll think about what kind of, I think I'll just do just a generic sort of big cat on the back to make it a gryphon. But we'll start with this. What I like about this shape is how the wing curves down here like this. And then here it's got like two curves. So anyway, I think that's a very interesting shape. So I'll use that for my demon, speed demon. I'll put in parentheses if I remember, speed demon. So I've been using this kit all year for my Inktober. It's got a bunch of things that I got at the Inktober retreat last year. That's going on right now, so if anybody is watching, hello from Malone, New York. It was so great last year, so I hope everybody's having just as good a time this year. I definitely recommend it. The only reason I didn't go again was just because the travel cost was too high, and flights and driving even with hotel stays. I just live too far away from where it is. So unfortunately I didn't go. But this is stuff that I got at it last year. This zebra calls it a creative starter set, has mild liners and fine liners. The Moleskine Inktober sketchbook, like the official collab sketchbook. And then the last things that came from the retreat were these two zebra brush pens with black ink inside on both, and then they both have a medium tip, and then the red one has a small tip as well. And then stuff I added to this kit to make it complete my favorite Palomino Black Wing pencil with a sharpener for it. And then a recent addition, like within the past month, just a nice plastic eraser, because even though the Palominos are really cool, as far as like how they look and their sort of legacy and stuff, their erasers kind of suck, so I'm just gonna be honest. So this got this Pentel high polymer eraser instead. Okay, so that's all of my Inktober kit that I'm using this year. Let me fold up my little bag. Set it off to the side. Alright, Demon. Time to draw our speed demon. Let me zoom in on this picture. It fits really nice on my screen too. Speed demon. Here's last week's. Fortune. And I'll try to remember to say it on the other days as well, but just a heads up that next week I won't be streaming. I am taking a break and taking a little vacation. Nice staycation. So I won't be streaming next week, but I will be back. It just so happens that the final day of Inktober, like October, is my normal Inktober day, Tuesday. So I will be back just in time to do the very last prompt of Inktober 31. We'll call it Inktober 31 because Inktober52 is the year long and Inktober 31 is the month long. Okay, so considering the shape of this reference image is straight up and down, I'm gonna just fill up this side of the page and not go across both pages. Exie is here. Hello! I love seeing the ranger in the chat. Yo, says Exie. How are you? Oh, look at the chat. Look, it's on the screen. I'm so happy. I spent like, I don't know, an hour total making that little chat box. What do you think, Exie? What do you think of the chat? Also, how are you? I hope you're well. Hope you had a great weekend. Okay, here's the body. The head is interesting because it curves up a little bit for the chin. Like the neck is tucked in and then the beak comes out like this. And then this is nice streamlined. Man, my favorite bird. Well, it's my favorite bird just because of how it looks mostly, so that's why I didn't know the fact about. Oh, it's also the fastest animal in the world. Oh good, oh good. Exie says, I is all fine. How is you? I am good too. Other than I got ready for tomorrow's stream and then I forgot that I didn't do Inktober yet. Thank goodness Inktober is pretty easy because I just have a kit. I didn't have time to like do any big time research, but I just did it on screen, so it wasn't too hard. Didn't lose too much time just doing it during the stream. Oh, so cool, so cool. Love the peregrine falcon. Okay. Let's see, its little mouth is so serious looking. Okay. And now this beautiful, beautiful wing shape. The whole reason I picked this particular picture. Okay, it comes from the neck a little bit and then it comes out and then has this nice sharp curve. Comes out and then back in. Okay, if this is the main body, then the wing goes way past it. And then the other reason I liked it is this sort of double shape here for the wings. Boom. Neat. Love it. I love it. Okay. Okay, now we're getting to the back half of the griffin. There is also the other wing to draw, but I've got to draw... Yes! Nice, I love it. Exie puts hello YouTube. Yeah, that's exactly why. It's so nice. I realize that it's like a a milestone, because I didn't used to have enough chat to bother putting a chat box on the screen, because it was like, it would be so sad every time that like there would be no chat. So why was there a chat box on the screen? And now I have enough chat to make it worth it. All thanks to you. Oh. What? I have bad grammar all the time. I'm sure that if I transcribe the way I speak out loud, it's like the way I type is much more proper. So I don't think it's a the way I talk out loud is so messed up. So don't worry about it. Actually says, no wait, I don't have to read it anymore. I'd have to get used to not having to read it. I was going to say Exie said and then read your message. Ah, it's going to save me so much time. This is going to save me so much time. I got to get used to it now. I was about to read it out loud. It's so funny. Oh, it's Sarah. It's here too. Sarah, hello. Thank you for joining me. How are you? Did you have a great weekend? Sarah, look at my chat box. I put the chat box on. I've been talking about it during this stream. This is my first stream with the chat box on. Oh, I'm so excited because the chat is getting tall enough to go to like reach the top part, because I like lined it up all perfectly, because I did this super like super basic style chat box thing. I just made an image, like a ping image, PNG, and then I've got the like, what is that thing called it's so popular for Streamlabs. I've got the most basic Streamlabs chat thing sitting on top of that, and I just lined it up all perfect so that it goes, it like cuts off right there, right there. Oh, there it goes, there it goes. Ha ha ha. Yes. Ah. Okay, I get distracted. The whole point of the chat box was to save me time from having to read it out loud for future YouTube viewers. And here I am just like distracted by the chat box and not doing my drawing. Okay. So, next I'm gonna add these feet. So, right now they're feet. For the griffin, I'm gonna put them up here, and they're gonna become the arms and hands. And then, of course, the feet will be some sort of just like a basic big cat. So, actually, I'm gonna zoom in even further on this picture. And there's like feathers covering it up. It makes it even more streamlined. And probably it's just this falcon is probably just moving so fast that the wind itself is what's keeping the feathers, like, because it's keeping them flat. Okay, but the hands are like this, just tucked in super tight. Just like a couple little sticks, almost. There's the feet, the fingers on the feet. They're becoming fingers. Okay, and then on this side, it sticks out a tiny bit. Oh man, I've heard about that. I hope everybody gets better soon. I only heard about that last year. That RSV, airborne respiratory illness. And I was like, man, there's just yet another thing to be careful of, and like that one is really dangerous for little kids, so I hope everybody recovers. So were you visiting them? Is that why it was stressful, or is just because you're worried and that's why it's stressful? Because if you were visiting them, I hope that you don't get sick too. Because I caught a cold, and I'm so careful. I'm one of the few people that still wears a mask around strangers, you know? Because I don't want to get sick anymore. I hate getting sick. I caught a cold anyway, though. You just can't. There's no 100%. You can do what you can do, but you can't completely avoid it. You can see a little bit of the talons on here even, although they're actually kind of sticking into the feathers. Okay. And you can actually see a little bit of the leg over here on the side here. I'm gonna erase these lines here, bring it up a little bit. Okay. Well, that's better than being worried and being sick. Still sucks. Still sucks to worry about it. Ah. Yeah, that's probably for the best. Well, hopefully, do you know how long it takes usually to recover? Well, hopefully, your family recovers pretty quickly, and then you can go on a like celebratory visit, like, thank goodness you got better visit. Okay, I think that's good. Now, for the back half, maybe I just look for Leaping Lion. See if I can see what do the back legs look like. Interesting. Okay, images. What's this? Oh, this is a digital, this is like a video game lion. Oh, this one is nice. Ooh. Yeah, this kind of thing. I wanted to see what the most outstretched looking legs would look like. And so the tail is moving up here because the leap is more like an arc here, but I'm trying to make it a dive, so I'm going to make the tail go straight back along the line of the spine. But this image shows me what shapes the legs ought to make if they were stretched back to be as aerodynamic as possible. It's actually just like one really big triangle and then the foot is connected to it. Kind of. Oh, it's kind of hard to... Yeah, I'm going to hold my phone like this. I get to set it on my chargy stand this way. And it looks more straight up and down like that. Like this image. There we go. There, I don't have to use quite so much of my imagination to get the shape right. And then the heel sticks out like that. And I'm going to angle it even further back than what it actually is. And then since these feet are turned a little bit this way, I will do the same thing with the lion's feet. Have it show on this side. And I will assume that it would try, if this was a real griffin, it would try to keep its legs together as much as possible to become like one unit, so it's even more aerodynamic than having two legs kind of flopping around. Also probably would save energy to keep them as close as possible during a dive, because if they are flying around, then you have to use more muscle to keep them where you want to keep your body steady. Okay, and then the tail would just be coming like straight off like a string. I'm gonna give it a little bushiness, just like the African lion picture that I am using. Okay, now going back to that other peregrine falcon. Oh, where'd it go? Okay, peregrine falcon diving. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Whee, there it is. Okay, cool. I just need to add, I guess I don't have the line of the body. It's hard to see because the peregrine falcon has so many like little lines like this, but you can see the line of the body where the wing is pushed up against it right here. And then that other wing, so I actually think, yeah, go like that. Okay, how are we on time? It's actually perfect timing to start inking. So I'll just go for the big size one and get more done at once. I did not explain myself very well. The big size one. The large ended brush tip pen. I'm gonna go for the big size one. Whoop. And this. I love this. I love this shape. This wing is the whole reason I picked this diving picture versus a lot of them show it, for some reason, show it directly from the side. I guess to show how aerodynamic the body is. Awesome peregrine falcon. Oh, and I get the mouth a little more defined. I just had a basic shape, but it actually has a little bit of a curve, like a W, like an upside down W in it. I don't remember if I've said it since anybody popped into the chat, but I picked this for this prompt because this is the fastest animal in the world. I did not know. I searched for fastest bird. It's fastest animal, not just bird. Anyway, I'm going for the idea of speed demon because the prompt is demon. So I'm doing a speed demon gryphon. That's how I'm making the prompt work this time. Man, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. And then the other wing. And then just some little marks for the tail, and then I think I'm ready to erase the graphite. I don't have to. There's not any like really big dark spots like I think last time it was, where I was like, this is really standing out. But I feel like the speed, having it nice and clean, adds to the feeling of being a speed demon. I think next time I would put the hands a little bit lower. So it's hard to tell exactly what the legs are doing under the feathers in the reference photo, but now that I'm looking at it, I think it would look a little more natural with the hands to be a little bit lower. But you never know that without trying it, so I'm glad that I tried it. Okay, I think that's good. Where's my trash can? Oh, and I need my sweepy brush. Sweep all this eraser dust into there. This is nice. I still have over half an hour left, so that means I can take my time and put some of these details of the, not the texture, what is it? The pattern? Yeah, the pattern that's on the wings of the peregrine falcon. Thank you. Sarah says that's an interesting way to interpret demon. Yeah, I was thinking about it because I got ready for the wrong kind of live stream, so I had hardly any time to like do it. Usually what I do is type it into like dictionary.com or something, like type the prompt, and I'm like, what other things can it possibly mean, to see if there's some rare meaning that I could use, but I didn't have time, so I was like, I could just literally just draw like a scary looking griffin or something, but I started thinking about it more and I was like, speed demon, let's do that. So that was like my second idea. Nah, I think, okay. I was thinking about adding some hatching with this fine liner, but I think I will use this first and add all of these little tiny like zebra like marks. I'll add all those first. So even though this is I just use like a lion, like an African lion, I'm going to do I'll continue those marks all the way on here, so it'll be like a zebra. Actually, it'll be like a lion zebra. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yay. I love that too. Made a design based on song. Is it on your Instagram? Can you share it? Because I'd like to see it if you want to share. You don't have to though. As always, I'm not going to make you do anything, but I want to see. I'm still not quite used to not reading. Oh, nice. Yay. So I won't look at it yet, but I'll be able to look at it when I'm done with the live stream. What I was going to say, because I keep trying to do it. I keep trying to read everybody's messages out. I forget. I'm not used to not having to do that anymore. Gotta get used to it. It is nice though. It's like, so when I first started doing it, I was like, oh man, I better say what's happening in the chat because nobody will know if they're watching the YouTube. And I just kept doing that and I got in the habit of it, and now I don't have to do it. And I'm still in the habit of it. Zoom in a little bit on this picture. Okay. Man, I love peregrine falcons. They're so cool. They're so cool looking. You can read them though if you like to read. I like to read. This, like the song lyrics. Yeah. Oh, chat messages. Oh, I get it. No, I mean, I do like to read. Like as a hobby, yeah. But I realized as I was getting that chat set up, that chat overlay set up, that it's like, it's going to save me so much time. But I didn't think about, like I keep saying like the same thing today, like, I keep forgetting. But I do, because it's like, whoa, I did not expect that. I didn't think of it as a habit. It was just a thing I did. Now I know. Now I know it's a habit. I'm already getting used to it though. It's actually kind of nice. So the wings have a much more specific, or not specific, but what does it mean? Oh, orderly, like an orderly stripe pattern. But then when it gets up here, it's kind of not random, but it's much more like up and down, like how I'm doing. So that's why I'm suddenly like there's an earthquake happening, like it's a seismogram or whatever it is with an earthquake, and it's like I loved, I don't remember where it was, but there was some museum that I went to as a kid that had one of those seismographs or whatever it is. And you could see it, and it was like a real one. It was showing you what is the seismic activity right now, and it just records, and you can just walk up and look at it. And I thought that was so cool, because I've always loved science since I was a little kid. It's like, oh, neat, look, that's the Earth. It's like the Earth's heartbeat or something. Right here where there's a curve, the stripes kind of curve too. And I'm definitely not copying exactly the reference image I'm looking at. Just sort of using it as a reference and then having fun just filling it in. Like, let's add a little here and a little there. Boom. Okay, so these patterns continue, but not here. There's like this bib of white feathers with none of this patterning on it. And it's interesting because it seems to follow the same placement as the shadow cast by the wing. Guess I'll show you what I mean. So this line right here is the shadow cast by the wing. And then these stripes also stop here. So and then you can see this other shadow here from that's just the bottom of the body. So it's like the body casting a shadow on itself. But it's so interesting that the stripes correspond with this. I wonder if it's just a complete coincidence just because of the photo, or if like that's how evolution ended up being like, oh, it actually works way better for the falcons that have it like this. Very interesting. They're more sparse the closer it gets to this neck area too, but then as it gets farther down, it's much more like stripes, like actual lines. And they're on the belly as well, which is super cute. I love it. Love these. I love these birds. And like I said, I'm going to bring it all the way down into the lion part so that it's consistent pattern for the griffin that I'm creating. I like that about creating a griffin, is that it doesn't have to be exactly how the animals I'm basing it on. I can tweak it to be like, well, yeah, it looks like this, but actually it's a griffin. It's not a lion. It's not a peregrine falcon. It's its own thing. So I'm going to bring it down onto the legs. And maybe I'll do the same thing what I'm seeing on the wings, which is that it's more random up top, but then as you get to the tips, it gets more, oh, and then even at the very tip, it's quite black. So I'm gonna make the, it's like the feet are gonna be black. Ah, yeah, cool. And then there'll be like stripes. And then the stripes will become less orderly as we get farther up. Fun! It's so fun. It's so fun. Let's bring it down on the tail too. Yeah, they have the stripy tail. So it's interesting because I guess it's more like a tiger. Oh, and it works for the tail too because the lion tail is already this dark fur. So it works. It's the tip of the wings, the end of the feet, or the back feet anyway. Danger, burb. Yep, you better look out. It'll dive bomb you. Speed demon. Thank you, XE. It's so weird not to read that out loud. Thank you very much. Here's a close-up look at how it's coming along. So I think for this back leg, I'm just going to do some hatching on it. Because I want it to stay separate from this part where I put the dark ink on. And also separate from this wing when I do this wing, which I'm about to do right now. Because it also has this really dark, because the tips of the feathers are black. And since they're all really tight together, it just looks like one really big black wing shape. Like you don't see any individual feathers. So, I don't want this back leg to get lost, since I'm just basically doing the paper color and with black ink on top. So it's all up to the contrast to be able to see what stuff is. Speaking of looking amazing, Exy, I love that picture you shared. I know I said it already, but I love seeing that picture you shared. You gonna make any more stuff like that, you think? Or is it just like a fun experiment for the day? So now I'm gonna do the head of the griffin is all black feathers. It looks gray in the sunlight, but I'm just gonna make it all black for this picture. So I like the contrast of the nice, we've got this really black point here, 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 and then we'll have a really black point at the front too. It's like a, looks like a masked hero swooping in to save the day. Now that I added the black all around. Nice. Yeah, it looked really good. I feel like that's the kind of thing you could make like a whole bunch of them and it would just be like a really lovely collection to just, so say like, you know how on Instagram if you look at someone's page there's just all these squares and it goes down and down and down. At least I'm thinking of on the web because I look at stuff on the web more than on my phone. And so I feel like it would be really cool just to see so many different portraits in the unique style that you came up with. It would be really cool. I don't want to add any more to your workload though, because you already have your Word project. But so like no pressure, no pressure or anything. Just saying that I think you made a really cool thing, and it would be cool if you made more. Yeah, yes, it could be a future project too. What time is it? Still have plenty of time. Ah, it's so nice. So nice. Okay, so now I am going to go for this, the Sarasa fine liner in black. And I'm going to do, first thing is hatching on this back leg. So it'll help look like it's in the background. Because right now it actually kind of comes forward a little bit. because it's got nothing in it. But I don't want to fill it in all the way with black, like I said. I'm focusing, I'm making really tight lines right now, so I'm not looking up. So just in case anything's in the chat and I haven't responded to it yet, I'm making such tight lines I don't want to look up until I get all the way down the leg. There, I'll hold it close up so... I love it when my camera autofocuses. There. And then, yeah, it makes it sit back a little bit more. Before it was really popping out, being the only thing that was like completely white. What else? Where else? Oh, these feet. And here I shall use curved lines to help give dimension to the feet. So here I just used a straight line. It's fine because it's such a tiny little area. But here we've got more space to work. So if we do a curved line, it not only makes it look like it's in shadow, but it helps make it look like it's round. Also following the curves of the fingers. Because again, I just did straight all the way across here, not worrying about the curve of the leg or anything, but there's more room here, so we just do little curves. Just moving the sketchbook along with it. There! We got some shading on the feet. Okay, so now I think I'll do, I'll do some big hatching across the body to indicate, and then even in this wing, because even the wing itself is casting a shadow on itself. So it's like there's light here, and then there's light here, but not here. So let's add that. And I'll use a big curving line. So the same reason to help, because if you use a big straight line on the body like this, it'll really flatten the body out. Make sure to bring them in under the feet. And actually right here in between the feet would probably be really dark. There. Such textures, eh? I love texture. It's so fun. I love inking. Because it's just, well, I mean, for me, inking means like just using black ink on whatever colored paper or whatever. And then what can I do? What things can I make happen even though I'm restricting myself only to the black ink? Okay, I'm gonna add a few more lines in here. The overall effect of this area is darker. So here, I think that, okay, so I'm seeing a couple angles in the wing. This part is kind of like this, and then this part is kind of like this. So I'm gonna do lines that come together right here. Not exactly, not like tip to tip, but I'm gonna have a space right here showing that this is kind of flat in this direction, but this one's flat but in this direction. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully once I draw it, it'll make sense. So basically I'm purposefully not using curved lines here. I'm gonna use straight lines here. There is, of course, it's a three-dimensional piece of the bird's body, but compared to the roundness of the trunk, I guess you could call it, the wings are flat. So that's what I'm showing here. Okay, so I've got this part, the lines are going this way, so I'm going to angle it like this for this part. Hopefully that makes sense. I know I'm saying this part. I'm trying to point with my finger. I don't know what each different part of the wing is called. I'm doing my best to make it even, but thanks to all this nice texture from just the patterning on the wings, it doesn't matter too much if it's not, if there's some way different spaces here and there. I brought my hatching all the way up into even the really black inked spots, and that's just because the ink on ink, you can still see it. So you can still see these lines. So even though this is meant to be like a really black dark spot, I want it to look consistent from a standpoint of the tools that I'm using. So, and here's that just slightly different angle between the lines to help show that the wing is not one big flat piece but multiple pieces. Now let's do this wing. This wing hardly anything is showing, so it's a lot easier. I'll just do the same, about the same angle that I used here, but relative to this one. Also, I think I'll keep the lines a little tighter together because it's farther back than this one compared to the wing tip that we finished already. Boom! Okay, what else? Maybe a little bit of hatching under the tail where it's coming out from the legs. And there is more shadow. Oh, it's almost time. More shadow here. Like I said, from the body itself, casting its own shadow on its underside. So let's add that like this. And it goes all the way up the chin to the beak. And then the beak itself. And maybe a little bit on the eye, because all birds seem to have this overhanging, like, I call it an eyebrow, but it's like the brow bone, I guess you might call it. And there's definitely a shadow being cast there. Man, me like this. So about 9 minutes left. I think I'll do, because I don't have an environment that I've put this gryphon into. I think I'll do my favorite thing that it feels like I haven't had a chance to do it in a while, which is to make that nice big outline. Maybe I did it last time when I finished the line art for the Ranger, the first Ranger emote. But that's like a month ago. More than a month ago. So that's why it feels so long ago. So I'm going to make that nice thick outline around here. It always gives it such a finished feeling if you can add that. At least I think so. When I look at it, I'm like, ah, yes, it's done. It's good. I guess it also helps because the one thing with this kind of eraser, and I think it's also has to do with the paper, but it pulls the ink off a little bit too. So this way I'm reinforcing the ink that got erased from the very first ink that I put down. So just like refreshing those initial lines. So like some areas, like where the wing meets the body, I'll thicken this line here actually. I always think it looks nice when two come together and become a... I don't know how to explain it. When two things come together like that, making the line thicker there. I think it looks nice. So like here, where the tail is going back behind the leg, making it just a tiny bit thicker, like tapering larger toward the leg, the part where it goes under. So if all the lines are the same thickness, it's not as easy to process as a viewer, but if there's more variety, then it's just sort of like visual rhythm. Helps give it a little bit more visual rhythm. This for some reason reminds me that so many people I've noticed, especially on DeviantArt, don't even notice at first that what I've drawn is a griffin. They're like, oh, what a cool whatever bird it is. And they're like, whoa, I didn't even notice the cat part until later, or whatever. I don't know exactly how that makes me feel, but it's interesting and amusing. For some reason this one is making me... I guess because the falcon part looks quite like its photographic reference, I think. And then they're just, but the back half is just a lion. Wow, looks good. Peregrine falcon, so cool. I wonder if there's any books specifically about peregrine falcons. I just finished well, not just, it's been a couple months now, but I finished a book this year about just birds in general, recent science about birds, basically how awesome birds are. And so I'm pretty sure peregrine falcons were mentioned, but it just talked about all kinds of birds, including ones I'd never heard of before that I'm like, what? How did I not hear about this bird that's like the coolest bird ever? Pretty much every bird they talked about was the coolest bird ever, so... Sneaky griffin. Yeah, it sneaks its griffinness past the unwary viewer. Man, we still have 5 minutes, but I'm pretty satisfied with it. Maybe what I'll do... So since these two shadows... This shadow is being cast by the wing. This shadow is being cast by the body, even not just on itself. You know, like how there's just a shadow, like shadow under my hand here. So, but I have them just sort of meeting right here and this becoming this shadow only. So even though in the reference image you can't tell the difference between the darkness of this one and the darkness of this one, for the sake of the ink, the way the ink works, I'm going to carry on all the way down the body. Since I have the time, I can do little fine-tuning things like this. It's so nice. And get it under feet as well. There, and then it becomes cross-hatching So then, like, you know, these are actually two separate shadows being cast from different things. I guess I'll give it one more look over. Maybe a little bit more shadow on this leg. Hatching shadow. This will give it a little bit more dimension. Good, kind of flat. There, just a bit. Yay! It's very weird. I always liked griffins since I was in junior high school. I was like, what? There's something other than dragons that could be a cool fantasy mythology creature? But it wasn't until I started being like, yeah, I'm going to make griffin stuff that I got into birds. And I was like, wait, what? How come I never knew how cool birds were? So I'm glad that my bird joy comes across. And I was like, wait, I just sort of, birds were just like a thing that existed. Like, you know, I didn't have any positive or negative feelings particularly. I mean, when I was a kid, I had a couple flocks of chickens that I took care of at different points in my childhood. But there wasn't too much like personal connection or like a deep interest or anything. I enjoyed caring for my fellow living creatures, and I still have that feeling today, but yeah, thanks to the creating griffin stuff and liking it to be like sort of naturalistic that I got so into birds and I'm just so happy about learning about birds and looking at them, and I love seeing them out when I'm out in the world, you know. Here's a close-up of the picture. I think I'm done with this drawing. I'm just gonna add my yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I mean, even with, I still think that if I were to do it again, I'd move these down just a little bit. Just have a little bit more room for the arms to extend, but overall, I am quite happy with how this turned out. I had time not only to add the patterning on the griffin, but also the shading with the hatching. I got to do all the things that I like. So let's put my usual little information on here. So the Inktober52. Oh, well, I was the same way for bugs, like moths especially for some reason. I got really freaked out about moths for some reason when I was a teenager, but now I'm just like, oh, what a cool bug. Just look at the bug. Or like if it's in the house, I'll be like, come on, bug, let's go outside. Or I just let it be in the house. So, oh, thank you, Exie. So kind. Thank you, thank you. I feel like this will make I'll see what I feel like next month, but I feel like this can make a good postcard for Patreon rewards. Okay, so this one is called Demon. Right. I remember I was going to put in parentheses speed. And then demon. Ha ha ha. And then I think I just write the date. Yep. The 17th. Shichinichi? Junananichi? I think it's Shichinichi for Japanese. October. That's Jugatsu. 2023. 2023年. Yay! Oh, perfect. A little bit over time. So I shall leave you there. Thank you so much for chatting with me and using the new, filling up the new chat overlay with your chats. I'm so happy about it. Like, I'm seriously, like, I'm having such a good time streaming. It's all thanks to you. So thank you. Yeah, so that's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow with a lucky dip, which I already completely prepared for today, except for getting the items out, because I forgot that it's not Wednesday yet. So hopefully see you then. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching.